Well, hello, and welcome to the Ram Show. It is Sunday, September 23rd, 2018. Well, welcome back to the Ram Show. Okay, I like muted my mic there for a second in an attempt to... Wait, hang on. Okay. Oh, wait. What? Okay, we're good. We're good. It's doing that weird thing where it's adding like another sound device randomly on me that wasn't there before. Yeah, that's always awesome. All right, everyone should be able to hear Zach now. Hi, Zach. How are you doing?
I'll just not ask about whatever it is you're just doing.
Well, so...
Because, at least it works.
Right. Basically, so what's showing up in the audio and the mixer properties right now is the main mic, the Logitech webcam, which we're not using the microphone on that. And then there's obviously, let's see here, because now we're in a double box. So now there's a audio option for that. And then there's the desktop audio, which is what you're coming through. But everything is set up correctly. Everyone can hear. So that is set up the way it's supposed to be. So, yes. Anyway. So, I found one use for Edge. But only one use.
What could that be?
It is actually pulling up a web page. It's actually using that. So, no. Excuse me. One thing that I've started doing lately, and I got the idea from CBS, is so when we're getting ready for them to do the network news at 5:30, which is when our station airs it, what they do is they have like the anchor do cut-ins for other like affiliate stations basically, but they do like a tower cam or whatever, and then they put like the name of like the station that's going to be doing it. So it's like a title card kind of thing. So I started doing that too, where we have a title card that I put up. Depending on what I'm doing, it's sometimes as early as 5 o'clock, and it just gives something there for people to watch before the stream actually starts or whatever. So the last couple of weeks, I've been picking the World Trade Center camera in New York. Because it's one of the cameras that was actually working very, very well for me. Didn't freeze up, and it was just, it just worked, which was nice. Well, this week, I wanted to try a different camera, so I tried actually the St. Paul camera. Because there's nothing obviously interesting going on here in Iowa. So, anyway, so I used the Minnesota camera, or it's like, kind of over by like the state capital area or whatever it looks like. What it's looking down on. So anyway, in Firefox, it kept like reloading the page, and you could see like the little like status loading bar, you know, that like some browsers have. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's down in like the lower left-hand corner. So that kept popping up, and I'm like, I don't want that on the stream. So opened it up in Edge, and it actually worked just fine. So I may be using Edge just for that sole purpose. But anyway, other than that, I don't plan to use. I don't plan to use Edge for anything else. So, but hey, if it works, it works.
I don't know why one would.
So I don't know. Some websites are designed to work better with other browsers than like with one browser than they are with other browsers. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, like, way back in the day, it used to be a major pain in the rear end because you would, like, be able to, like, code something in CSS, which is Cascading Style Sheet. We'll talk about that in a minute, actually. But you'd code something in with CSS for the styling of a web page, right? And I think this used to be a big problem with, like, positioning of things on the web page. So you'd want to, like, if you wanted to position something in a specific place, it would work fine on, like, Firefox and Chrome, but then as soon as you went into Internet Explorer, it would be in a totally different spot. So web developers actually had to go in and create special style sheets just for Internet Explorer to account for all the weird shenanigans that was in there. So,
Yeah, that sounds like more trouble than it's worth.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think I've heard of something like that.
That's why you used to see it's not
Dang
as
it.
common anymore, but remember you'd see websites from time to time that would be like, this website best viewed with Firefox or Chrome, or I'm sure you've seen
Or
that
not
before.
Internet Explorer.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, hang on, I'm gonna okay, I think, yeah, adjusting my chair a little bit there. Okay, so topics for this week. Okay, let's see here. Let me grab the sheet here. So there is a new Safari bug for Apple, their Safari web browser. There's a new bug. A major computer hardware retailer had a data breach. We'll talk about that. Microsoft news, of course. Samsung's Note 9s are having some problems.
Hope they're not exploding.
Maybe. Maybe. And some AMD Ryzen news. They've got some interesting stuff. And then we got to hit a couple of these topics in the rapid fire stuff. There's a new font. Why are we talking about a font? Because this one's kind of cool. We'll talk about that later. Some updates to Amazon Go stores. Do you remember those? Those are the cashierless stores that Amazon has.
Don't think I've ever heard of that.
We covered it on the show before. It was a while back.
Can't say I remember.
The concept is really cool. I'll tell you the concept real quick. So basically, is there's no cashiers. So what you do is you line up outside the store, and then you take your phone and you open up your Amazon app, right? And then you like scan in. Well, I don't know if it's like NFC or if it's like reading a QR code or whatever, but basically you scan yourself in, right? And then there are like hundreds and hundreds of cameras up in the ceiling that track your every move, you know. But anyway, they track your every move and track what you're picking up, and then they charge it to you when you walk out. So it basically keeps track of it, adds it to your cart when you pick it up, and then when you walk out of the store, it charges you. It's kind of a cool concept. I might have a tinfoil hat on in terms of the whole cameras that can track you, and I'm sure that they can use that data linked to your, well, they're going to use that data linked to your Amazon account to target, you know, sales and other stuff to you. They're going to do that. But I might just have a slight tinfoil hat on when it comes to being super concerned with that. So I think that's the right... Am I using that in the right context?
Kind of, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not like it's not really a conspiracy theory, but like...
You suspect there may be some
Oh, no.
targeted ads and such?
There are going to be targeted ads. It's a thing. I'm saying is that, like... So maybe I'm not using it in the right context. There are going to be. I just kind of don't care. I just accept it, I guess. But, you know... And in terms of the... Yeah, that's really the biggest thing. Anyway, let's get into our tech topics for this week. We're talking about Apple right now. So, there's a new way to crash iPhone, Zach. You ready for this?
Really?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
New way to crash iPhones. And it's really, 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 really simple. All you do, you send a link.
Surprising. I remember the last one.
Oh, I bet you Joe is watching right now. If he is, he can say hi, or whoever you are. If you're not Joe, you can also say hi on the chat. But anyway, if I kind of want to wait. I was going to say, though, like, if it isn't Joe who is watching, we should, like, totally send him the link, and then his phone will just freak out, and he'll be like, what did you do to my phone? But basically... So it was a researcher named Sabri Hadush. I want to say that's how that's... I don't know why I try names on the Ram Show. I can never actually pronounce them correctly. But anyway, so he tweeted a webpage on Saturday. So what it does is it causes iOS devices to basically freeze and then reboot when visited. And here's the reasoning why. So the Safari browser contains a flaw that can be exploited to grind the memory process to a halt. So Safari uses a browser engine called WebKit to render a website's content and images. So WebKit will struggle to render a web page when code includes a massive number of HTML elements. So the web page that this guy created nested thousands of HTML elements using div tags inside a single line of code. And basically what happens is when Safari tries to render the elements, an out-of-memory error will be triggered.
It won't work anymore.
Basically. So basically, the layman's terms to that is that what happens is the web page has so much stuff that's trying to be rendered at one specific time, and because of the flaw, the Safari browser can't handle it, and it basically just freaks out and is like, okay, I'm just going to shut the phone down and restart. That's its solution. It freaks out. I don't know if would that be called like a kernel panic?
I do wonder if that would be a thing that Safari does, or maybe it's the operating system's response to the issues that Safari has.
Well, but see, here's the thing, right? So it's also been tried on iOS, like on the desktop platform in Safari, and apparently it does the same thing. So it sounds like it's actually a problem within Safari.
Could be, as long as provided that Safari on mobile and on the desktop share.
Well, okay, so let's think of it as in like
code.
Well, let's think of it as in terms of
right pieces of code. If the right pieces of code are the same across both versions, yeah, that'll.
Well, I think what's happening is so in Windows there's a page file, right? And if that page file gets filled up too far, you'll get a BSOD. Because it's basically like, I can't handle anything else anymore, and it just crashes. I think that's kind of a similar thing in this scenario, but instead of getting a blue screen of death, your device just restarts. I could be totally wrong, I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. So, I might totally be wrong. But the attack uses a weakness in backdrop filter. Basically, it's a CSS property that uses 3D acceleration to process elements behind them. Now, backdrop filter is designed to blur and shade colors across a web page. Interesting. Now, if you want to try it yourself, you can. I don't have the link. I'm sure you can find it. I don't think it's going to do anything to your device besides just restart it. It shouldn't cause any damage. But just kind of a... Yeah, just kind of a fun trick. Like I said, I think basically all it does is it fills up the memory, and then the memory just can't store anything else, and like I said, it freaks out. And then it's just like, okay, time to restart. So it should immediately freeze and then restart the device. Users report it working on iOS 9.2 to iOS 12. And WebKit vulnerabilities also affect Safari on, as I said, macOS on the desktop platform. So basically what it does, it can potentially crash the browser and even the entire... Oh, okay, so it looks like normally it just crashes the browser, but it has the ability to crash the entire system, apparently. Now,
okay. Here's
the problem with, like, the desktop version, though, is one of the built-in features of macOS, and I don't know if it's turned on by default or not, but there's an option to reload, or I think it does it by default, but it will try to reload any programs that were open when the system got shut down spontaneously and restarts. The problem with that is it creates a vicious loop. Because it opens the web page up again, and then I'm sure you can, like, force quit the application, and force quitting is basically the equivalent to using the task manager.
The process.
Yeah, basically ending the... Well, yeah. What is it? Yeah, force quit is basically the exact same thing as the option in the task manager to kill a task, basically, so, or process, like you said. So, you want to know the best part? So far, Apple has not commented on the bug. Oh, and it's also not the first time that experts have found bugs in Apple devices that can, this is throttle software. I don't know if it's actually throttling software, but this has happened in the past before, where people have been able to exploit Apple devices, I think using links before. So,
Yep. I remember something like that. It would shut off the device.
yeah, basically.
I think. Not entirely sure.
Yeah. So, anyway, so that's the thing that happened with Apple this week. Yeah. Okay. So, question, Zach. Because we're moving on now.
Hit me.
Okay? When was the last time... Actually, let's go back, okay? Think of... When you think of, like, buying components for your computer, right? Hardware components. Where online would you probably go to buy those things?
Amazon or Newegg.
Okay. Not
And I know where
Amazon.
this is going.
Let's take Newegg here for a moment, right? When was the last time you ordered anything off of Newegg?
It's been at least 2.5 years.
Okay, so you're good. But
I know.
Newegg suffered a month long. That's the alarming part of this. Month-long data breach that exposed users' credit card information. For a month! A full month! What do you think about that? Because personally, I call that unacceptable.
It is.
So, the same hacker group that hacked Newegg also hacked or targeted British Airways and Ticketmaster UK earlier this year. Here's the other great thing about this, right? The exact scope of the attack is still unknown. And the company just discovered the breach on Tuesday last week here and began taking action. How do you not know that there's a data breach on your systems for a full month? That
Big mistake.
I don't understand. This is not going to be good for Newegg.
Nope. Definitely not.
Yeah. Oh, and see, here's the thing. So Newegg sees about 50 million monthly visitors and has a business valued at $2.6 billion. I feel like that number might be going down here slightly in the near future. Just a little bit. So, but basically, threat management from Risk IQ uncovered the breach alongside cybersecurity firm Volexity. So hackers interjected. I don't know. I don't know much about hacking, but apparently they interjected 15 lines of code into Newegg's payment webpage, which is accessible through mobile and desktop devices, or on mobile and desktop devices. And it stayed on the page from, get this, August 14th to September 18th. That was just a few days ago. So, yeah, Tuesday last week when they finally discovered it. And so the script was placed.
It's not good
No.
for anybody that's
No,
used the website in
not at
any
all.
recent times. It's seems to me like
Yeah. So the
I
script.
think what's the time frame? It's been like a couple of years. If you've used the site in a couple of years, last couple of years or something to buy.
What do you mean? You lost me there for a minute.
Huh?
What were you saying? It's been a couple years. What do you mean?
A couple of years of like if you've used the website to buy anything in the last couple of years, then you could be compromised. So it goes back pretty far.
No. It
Evidently.
goes back. No, it goes back a month.
Oh, it only goes back a month?
Yeah,
What? Where did I hear that? I
August.
swear I heard something about last couple of years.
That's
or
why I was
something.
confused. No,
Data they-
no. It was a month-long data breach that occurred from August 14th this year to
Right, I
September
understood
18th
that
this
bit, but
year.
I thought they had access to past data as well.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it was they might, but I don't think so. I think it was just for that month, from the time periods listed in there. Of course, again, the exact scope of the attack is still unknown. So, But anyway, script was placed on the final checkout page, and basically it would skim credit card information and data that was sent to a server. Now, that server had a similar domain name and an HTTPS certificate, but it was actually controlled, of course, by the hackers. So, anyway. Now, Newegg did, at least they did this. They sent out emails to customers who made purchases during this 1 month period. So, I mean, at least they did that. Now, I'm curious, because I didn't get a chance. I wanted to make some graphics this week, but I didn't get a chance to. So I'm curious to see what this letter actually says. So let me throw that up here on the other screen here. And I will grab the graphic here. So here, we're going to put this up here. So Newegg users' credit card info was exposed to hackers for a month. Okay. So here is, oh, this is going to be really, really small for people to read. I can read it. So here's what it says. Yesterday we learned one of our servers had been injected with malware, which may have allowed some of your information to be acquired or accessed by a third party. The malware was quite sophisticated, and we are conducting extensive research to determine exactly what information may have been acquired or accessed and how many customers may have been impacted. We will keep you up to date with our progress and work to ensure this doesn't happen again. Yeah, I would hope. The malware is no longer on our site, and we will be doing our best to bring the culprits to justice. Well, that's always positive, I guess. Here, I'm going to actually pull this full screen here. So, let's see here. So, we have not yet determined which customer accounts may have been affected, but out of an abundance of caution, we are alerting those accounts at risk as soon as possible, so that they can keep an eye on their accounts for any suspicious activity. We hope by alerting you quickly to help prevent any misuse of information that may have been acquired or accessed. By Friday, we will publish an FAQ that will answer common questions we get. We will send you a link as soon as it goes live. We will also publish the link on our social media platforms. We want to make sure you are completely informed. We are very sorry circumstances have warranted this message. We are working diligently to address the issue and will provide additional information to you shortly. Sincerely, Danny Lee, CEO of Newegg. So, hey, at least they're taking this seriously. That's the good news. The problem is...
They appear to be.
The problem... Well, yeah, that could be good PR, too. The problem is, it shouldn't have happened in the first place. But it certainly shouldn't have... I don't know. Is that too mean to say that it shouldn't have happened in the first place? It is the world of cyber.
It shouldn't have happened at all.
Yeah. But I think the part that's even more... Yeah, but when was the last time Newegg had a data breach like this? I think it's probably been a while. Because we talked a few weeks ago, remember, about how companies should get a pass from time to time, but here's the problem, right? It took them a full month to realize that there was a problem. That is not okay. At least that's what I think so. I don't know what you think.
I don't know. I mean, we don't really know enough to really pass judgment, I would say.
That is true. But, like I said, it sounds like they didn't know from at least what I'm reading. The facts that I have in front of me now says that they didn't know for a month. That's a little extensive. If that's true. If there were other, things in the background, I guess, that we don't know, then, there might be different circumstances. But I have to go off of what I know, and what I know is that it took a month for them to figure that out. That's excessive. So, especially if they get 50 million monthly visitors. So that's potentially 50 million people whose, credit card data and whatever data has been collected now. Although, it sounds like this organization that does the hacking is more interested in just, the credit card data, and they could care less about, the personal data, I guess. So, anyway.
That makes sense.
But, no, what I'm going off of, the article says a month, so if it's been a problem for a month, that's excessive.
Oh, so, no, I mean, it makes sense that they want the credit cards and don't care much for anything else.
Yeah, that does definitely make sense. So, time for Microsoft news now this week. Is that weird for you when I just pause randomly? Because you can't hear the stinger. Or have you gotten used
No,
to...
it's not weird.
Have you gotten used to the fact that
weird.
you're like, oh, we're probably transitioning into Microsoft news now? Or are you just kind of like, I'm just here? I feel like it's that one. You're just here, aren't you?
I'm here. Yep, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. We're here.
So, anyway, remember last week when we talked about how Microsoft had a wonderful little pop-up message that was trying to convince users not to install Chrome or Firefox on their machines?
And I hope that everyone ignores this. I hope no one heeds this warning that they offer, because it is not anything worth caring about.
Yeah, so Microsoft started testing a warning for Windows 10 users last week. That was a quote-unquote... Oh, hang on. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Quote-unquote... Hold on. Quote-unquote feature. There we go. I have... The problem was... You can't see the shelf, so you know how we have a double box, right, Zach?
Yeah.
Well, there's also another graphic that is a smaller box, but with, like, the web browser in it as well. And that's the one that I pulled up so people can see the little graphic that... The pop-up graphic that was there. But the problem was I was trying to do the quotes, and the box is too small with both of us in there. Even though yours is just a picture of, you know, nothing-ish, kind of. It's like a figure, because somebody doesn't have a webcam. Anyway, I was trying to do the quotes and it wasn't working, so I had to switch back to the other camera view, or the other box.
Throwing shade? You're throwing shade.
I am! You know, people have actually asked if you're going to get a webcam.
I refuse to believe that.
No, they have. Okay, I should tell them to leave messages. Okay.
Who the heck would care about that? Not me.
People want to see who you are. They want to see you.
If it were me, I'd be listening in the background anyway, not actively watching, because there's not much to actively watch.
That's not true.
Couple graphics.
Yeah, but people like the visual part of it. So, anyway. But yeah, so Microsoft started testing a warning for Windows 10 users last week, like we said. And it would display a prompt when Chrome or Firefox was about to be installed. You already have Microsoft Edge, the safer, faster browser for Windows 10. Open Microsoft Edge. Install anyway. Don't want to be warned in the future. Open settings. How can I can... Why can I see this? Okay? They put this in there, right? You click on the button that says, I don't want to be warned anymore. It opens the settings page. It's very obscure because it doesn't actually take you to the actual option, probably. You have to search for it. Oh, and then a Windows update comes down, and what probably magically happens? Oh, they've turned the warning box back on.
Lovely, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that happened.
No, I wouldn't be either. So, anyway, Microsoft is now reversing this controversial test in its latest Windows 10 preview that was released last Friday. Oh, and there are no plans to include this warning in the upcoming Windows 10 October 2018 update. So that's good. Now, Microsoft may continue to test these types of prompts in the future. Let's hope not. But the prompt tried to convince Windows 10 users to stick with Microsoft's built-in Edge browser. I don't know about you, Zach, but I think we touched on this last week, but if you're presenting a giant pop-up box in my face trying to convince me to use your product, I feel like that's going to have the opposite.
That is a big warning sign that says, do not use this product.
Right.
That's what it says.
Well, I feel like, yeah, it's the opposite thing. It's like, you're really, really trying to convince me to use your product. I think that's going to have the opposite effect on me. It's going to be like, stop bothering me. Bye.
must not be a very good product if they have to beg people to use it.
Right. Yeah. You know, there is a simple solution here. You know what that is, Zach?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I mean, I could think of a couple things, but what do you got?
No. I want to hear what you have. Go.
I mean, I was gonna say somebody's probably gonna put together some registry trickery.
Oh no. Hang on.
Some guides
Hang
to
on.
registry trickery. That
No.
get
Let
rid
me.
of the notification.
You're totally off. Let me give you more context here, okay? If Microsoft wanted people to use Edge, there's a simple solution here.
Oh yeah. Make it good.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Make a web browser that doesn't suck. So that would be the solution. The easy solution. Yeah. Literally make a web browser that doesn't suck. So, similar prompts have also popped up when you switch browsers, or switch the default browser in Windows 10. You probably have ran into that before. I know I definitely have. Anytime I set up a new install of Windows and put Chrome on there, immediately I go into the settings and I go to the default hapsing and I change the browser to like Chrome or Firefox or whatever. And you know how you always get that awesome little pop-up window that's like, ooh, you sure you don't want to try Edge? No, I'm sure I don't want to try Edge. That's why I'm changing the browser. So, you've seen that little box before, haven't you?
Oh yeah, always. If you go in Edge and you try to Google Firefox or Chrome, you try to Bing Firefox or Chrome. Sorry, I meant to say that. Because everyone loves Bing, and it will tell you. There will be a huge box right in the middle, right at the top, attempting to explain why Edge is just so much better than those other two inferior browsers.
I forgot that. Yeah.
I always laugh. If I wanted to use it, I would.
Right. I always forget that that's a thing. Hang on one second here. I have to find
it right now.
Yeah, I've got it here. So here it is. This is Edge right here, right? I just did a search on Bing for Google Chrome. Microsoft Edge is the faster, safer browser on Windows 10, and it's already installed on your PC. Browse longer. Browse faster. Built-in protection. Built-in assistant. Yeah, because everyone is totally using Cortana.
Oh, I love Cortana. I don't know what you're talking about. Cortana's my favorite.
Right? Yeah. Hey, Cortana. Speaking of that, past notifications have actually come down to Chrome users, warning that Chrome is draining your battery faster.
Oh, whatever. Get out. Get out, Microsoft. Get out with that garbage.
Oh, man. That's funny. So, well, no, when I just pulled up that page, it was like a better battery life or something like that. It legit had a picture of a battery. And it was like something about like, oh, browse longer. That's what it was. Yeah. Although, you know what? There may be some truth to that because, and here's the only reason I say that, is because a built-in Windows browser is going to be coded to work with the operating system. So it might actually be a lot more efficient. Of course, we all know that Edge just sucks anyway, so probably a lot of the stuff that actually makes Chrome and Firefox good has been stripped out of, actually it has been stripped out of Edge, making it a lighter browser.
I believe that Edge has actually got a considerable disconnect from Windows. So
Does it really?
It's probably not. Yeah, because I think there's even ways that you can uninstall Edge, like actually uninstall it without adversely affecting Windows.
Excuse me.
I think.
Well,
I've never done it. Never really cared to. I just don't use it.
I think
it's good enough. But
Edge you might be able to.
I feel like I ran into some of that stuff when I was trying to troubleshoot something.
I think in previous browsers, if you tried to uninstall Internet Explorer, though, it would actually break parts of the operating system because, like, the File Explorer, like, relied on it, I think. Or parts of it. I think I remember that. I don't even know if you can do that anymore. Hang on. No, okay, that's not working. I think. Oh, wait. Whoa, that was interesting. So I just opened up. You can try this real quick, Zach. So like, open up like this PC or whatever, or like my documents, right? And then up there's the address bar, right?
Sure.
Okay. Type in something like google.com and hit enter, and then give it a moment. So it actually opens it, but the part that surprised me was the fact that it actually opened in my default browser.
My default browser.
That actually was
that surprised me too. I was expecting.
I was not expecting that. So, because I think before it would actually open it in that Finder window. Is it called the Finder? No, Explorer window. It's Finder in Mac. It would open it in the Explorer window, I think, in older operating systems. So, anyway, no, that was surprising, considering the fact, keeping in mind the fact that Microsoft tried to force users using the Windows Mail app a while back. Basically, when you would click on a link, or the idea was, because I don't think it ever actually made it to the final operating system, but what they wanted to do was that when you clicked on a link in the Google, or not the Google Mail app, the Windows Mail app, right? It would just completely ignore whatever your default browser was and open it in Edge.
Oh, yeah, I remember we talked about that.
Yes. Yep. That change was also tested with users, and the feedback forced the company to rethink its plans. I can't imagine why, but yeah. So that's why. So it's not clear this time if Microsoft reacted to the feedback or something else. But Microsoft also doesn't typically add major changes when it's finishing its updates, and there was no mention of this anywhere, either it being added or being removed in any of the company's blog posts anywhere. So it seems like it was one of those kind of quote-unquote secretive things they tried to do that didn't actually end up being secretive because it was super controversial. Like, yeah.
Like, some kind of change where they just like, well, we'll just sneak that one in there.
Right, yeah. Silently sneak that in there.
Fine, and then someone noticed and was like, this is stupid.
Yeah, it is.
And then a lot of people said this is stupid, and then...
This is just another one of those...
look where we are.
Right, this is another one of those examples of Microsoft trying to add extra prompts and advertisement and stuff into the operating system to persuade you to use... Because here's the problem. They know they don't have any other choice besides trying to do this to get you to use their products. Because they suck!
Why do we have to have software as a service? Why?
Right.
All the problems with Windows 10 all goes back to software as a service.
Right. Okay. And this is one of those things where it's definitely easier said than done because I'm not a programmer. I hate programming. I tried it in school and was horrible at it. But I mean, basically, what it boils down to is if you want people to use your product, don't design a crappy product. Design a good product, and people should use it. Why do people use Firefox? Why do people use Chrome? Because they're good browsers. So, I will admit, though...
Pretty much.
I will admit this. I haven't played with Edge that much, and that might be part of the problem, too, is there's a lot of stigma from Internet Explorer that's probably being carried over with a lot of bias to Edge. Because... in actuality, Edge probably actually isn't as bad of a browser as we probably think it is, but it's probably not as superior.
Not. Like, it's functional, great. It works. It will go to web pages. Cool.
Right.
That's what a browser does.
I wonder if we're judging it too much.
Like I don't believe it has nowhere near the customization options of the other browsers.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that. I can imagine that. Well, one of the things... Actually, I don't know if Edge...
As well as the cross-platform capability, like... You know,
That is true.
I don't see an Edge app for my phone.
Right, yes.
But say if I use
Excuse me.
Chrome on my PC and I use Chrome on my phone, I could log in on both.
You know, for a long
Log into
time,
the same account on both of them, and everything's
Yeah.
going to be cross-device.
I love that. For the longest time, I used Safari on my Mac because, you know, Mac built-in browser. Safari actually isn't a bad browser. But I changed to Chrome because I was using it on my main system, and I was able, like you said, to be able to sync everything together with one account. So all my bookmarks and stuff and history and things all
Well,
move
I'm sure
across with each
Microsoft's
other.
answer to that would be, oh, well, just get a Windows phone.
I don't think they make Windows phones anymore. I think that department actually finally got killed off.
Yeah, I know. They did.
Right, yeah. So, anyway. Okay, moving on to our next topic for this week. Samsung Galaxy Note 9s are having problems. Samsung Galaxy Note 9 starts smoking, catches fire. Where have we heard this before? Oh, with the Note 7. Yeah. So, a New York woman is suing Samsung. She claims that the company's Galaxy Note 9 smartphone started smoking and caught fire inside her purse. Okay? So, now hold on. Okay, because this woman doesn't seem to be the brightest person in the world, but I'm going off of what I have in the article. So just wait. Here, there are a couple questionable decisions that this woman makes, but well, I'll talk about that in a moment. So anyway, according to the New York Post, the incident occurred just after midnight on Monday, September 3rd. Her name is Diane Chung, I believe, and she's a real estate agent. So, she was in an elevator, okay, in Bayside, Queens, when the alarming episode went down. So first, her Galaxy Note 9 became extremely hot. That's according to court papers, right? So, what does she do? My phone's getting really hot. Maybe I should put that in my purse.
Oh, okay.
Because
I see where this
that's
is going.
totally going to solve your problem, right?
It's probably what you're saying is there's a considerable chance that it's not a fault of the device.
Oh, I don't know.
Of the user
I don't
doing
know.
something stupid with it.
Possibly. No, that's not where I was going with that. Where I was going with that is, if your device is getting extremely hot, why would you put it in your purse? That doesn't make sense. Like, oh, I'm going to put it in my purse and it's magically going to get cooler. How about maybe trying turning off the device? So, but here's what I say, right? So I say that she's not very, didn't make the best decisions, but at the same time too, right? Probably a more average consumer, right? My device is getting hot. Your first thought probably isn't, I should turn off the device like we would think. Your first device is, my phone is getting hot. Why is it getting hot? This isn't normal. I'm freaking out. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of it now. Put it in my purse. So, I'm sure there was maybe some panic in there too, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, why at least, and again, prosumer, you're a prosumer, so let me ask you, if your phone is getting hot, would your first response be to turn it off or put it away in something?
I would probably investigate what the heck is running that's making it so hot.
Right. Well, yeah, because, prosumer, right? But, like, that's what I don't understand.
Sure.
Is why in anyone's right mind would it make sense to put a device that's hot in your purse? Like, again, that's magically going to make it cooler? Anyway. Okay? So she does that, right? Well, suddenly she heard a whistling and screeching sound, and she noticed thick smoke pouring from her purse. So, what did she do? There's thick smoke coming from my purse. I should probably put my bag on the elevator floor and try to empty it out.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, this just seems like a string of bad
Right.
decisions that led to a
right.
predictable outcome and someone who doesn't really understand that.
Yeah. So she put the bag on the floor, tried to empty it out, right? While it's, pouring out smoke. Burned her fingers as she was grabbing the smoking phone. I can't imagine why you burnt your fingers. Okay? This one I will give her. She became extremely panicked because at that point I'm probably somewhat freaking out as well, especially if I'm trapped in an elevator. So she's frantically hitting buttons to try to make the elevator open up, right? So when the elevator reached the lobby, and the doors opened, she kicked the phone out of the elevator, and that's when somebody grabbed the phone with a cloth and plunked it into a bucket of water. Because that's the logical thing to do. And that one, I may have sounded sarcastic there, but no, that is the logical thing to do. Smoking phone. I should probably pick this up and maybe put it in some water?
Well, at that point, if it's got smoke coming out of it, I would not be very optimistic about the chances that it survived.
Right, exactly.
Whatever happened.
But, like, okay,
So-
first, and you're right, this may very well have... Okay, I could see this scenario, right? Because let's look back, right? So the Galaxy Note 9, or Galaxy Note 7, right, had exploding battery problems, okay? We know that was a battery problem, right? In this scenario, because you've opened a few things up, I could see this, and let me know what you think, right? Okay? So, something on the device is causing it to run hot, whether it's a single app or a lot of apps being open all at the same time, right? And then putting it in the purse didn't help because now it's enclosing it in a space where it's only going to heat up faster, and who knows what's in that purse. Exactly, it's insulating it, and who knows what's in that purse anyways, too. Maybe there's makeup that's somewhat flammable, right? The heat is causing a problem. Oh, now all of a sudden we have smoke! So, I don't know. Is that a possibly logical reason as to why that happened? I think so. What do you think?
I don't know. Probably.
Well, okay, it makes logical sense. Or the other
Make sense, yeah.
the other logical thing is that the batteries are actually having problems, but this is apparently the first reported case of this. So
There's too much. There's too many things that.
Right, yeah, there's too
kind
many
of add up
variables.
to the conclusion of this person made a mistake rather than the battery.
Well, yeah, you never know. Again, and that's what I'm saying, as, I'm not saying all females do this, but as a professional, she's a real estate agent, right? As a professional and being a female, there's a very good chance, and I'm not saying that there was, but there's a very good chance that there's probably makeup, lipstick, something,
Aren't a lot of those things flammable?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. There is a high probability.
Like everybody knows you can put a lighter in front of a can of hairspray and it'll just be a
Right.
DIY flame.
And so that's what I'm saying is that being that she is a professional female, right? She's a real estate agent, wants to look professional, probably on the go. She probably has some
beauty products in the bag.
some kind of cosmetic
And
problems
some
in
of
the
those things
bag.
might be flammable, and
Right.
then you're inserting your hot, borderline flaming phone into the bag full of those things.
Right. That probably could be enough to cause the smoke that you're seeing. So that's why I say, and when you mentioned that, right, to put it in the bag, right, that's when I started thinking about that, because I didn't think about that before, but that is a very logical, very logical scenario that probably could have happened. So the two parts that still get me is again, my phone is hot, I should probably put it in my bag, and that one I can maybe kind of give a pass on. The one that just gets me, though, is the putting it on the floor and trying to retrieve the smoking phone. You already knew it was
why
hot.
not just take the cover off? Take the cover off, take out the battery. Well, I suppose it might be sealed, which would be a unfortunate design decision.
Right, but, if you see smoke, right, and you already knew your phone was hot before, now you're seeing smoke, why would you logically go to retrieve your phone?
I don't know what I would do, honestly. It's like, what are you going to do? Open it up? You might get burned.
Yeah, exactly. In that scenario, I'd
Well,
probably...
I'm sure just letting it sit there is not really going to help either.
Right. In that scenario, I would probably first try to shut my phone down. That probably would be the first thing I would do. Because, logically, if there's something in the phone that is making it overheat that way, something is not optimized, which it should be, then again, you know how people are. They just I'm one of those people that when I'm done with an app, I close it. I don't know if you're that kind of person or not.
Most of the time. There's some that I just leave open.
But, like, I've seen, like, some of my coworkers' phones before, and they literally have, like, 20 things open. And it's just like, okay, yeah, they're running in the background, but they're still running in the background. And a lot of people are like that. So that could possibly be something that would cause the phone to overheat. So anyway.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious, I suppose, what actually caused it to overheat.
So here's the thing, though. So she is filing charges in Queens Supreme Court seeking unspecified damages plus a restraining order to stop Samsung from selling the handset.
Good luck.
Right? Samsung is looking into the issue, or the incident. And, again, so what we just said sounds like a logical scenario as to maybe what happened. So, because here's the thing, right? So after the whole Galaxy Note 7 exploding batteries fiasco, right? Which was not good PR for Samsung.
I think that this is probably going to have a negligible effect on anything because, I mean, think about it. Anybody with a clue can probably see that this is mostly garbage.
There was a series of bad decisions, as we said. But the thing is...
It could come out that maybe there was battery problems. Maybe the battery problems led to the phone overheating in the first place, and the user's decisions to do that may have exacerbated the problem, but
that could be too.
Contribute to the end result.
But see, here's my thing. Here's my thing, and where I was going with that is...
That's possible, but probably not like...
Here's where I was going with things, though. And that is that because of the giant fiasco that was the Note 7, Samsung has put a lot of time into testing batteries to make sure that they're safe. So, that would lead me to believe that it probably wasn't a battery issue, you know?
Yeah, but you know what? People are going to remember the Note whatever that blew up.
The Note 7, yeah.
Exploding edition. And they're going to just point and laugh at this one and be like, look, it's happening again.
Exactly.
Good job, Samsung.
Exactly.
It's going to be a disaster for them, even if it's fake news, as we say.
And that's kind of what I thought, too.
Potentially be a PR problem for them.
So, I've been really good about trying not to say this, but now that it's out of the bag, I'm just going to say it. So, for a long time, whenever I would talk about me working for a TV station, and I guess some of it was because the affiliate, you can look up the affiliate and figure out in this area what TV station I work for. Not that there's anything bad with that, but anyway, so we are a CBS affiliate. I'm just going to put that out there now. But one of the things, so one of our promos is, because you brought up the fake news thing. So one of our new slogans.
I was mostly just saying that to refer to.
But one of our
wrong. It's incorrect.
Right. But one of our new slogans is CBS Real News. So anyway, yeah, it'll be. You know what? This will be one of those things that I think we need to keep an eye on to see what happened with it, because I actually am kind of curious. Was it a problem on Samsung's end? Was it a problem on Samsung's end, and then, like you said, the consumer caused more problems, or the consumer made some poor decisions, unfortunately, and that's what caused the problems. So anyway. Moving on, last topic for this week. Well, last main topic, and then we got a couple rapid-fire things to get through real quick. But AMD's got some new Ryzen 45-watt laptop chips that are going to take on Intel's Coffee Lake 8 series processors. This is kind of cool, actually. So, they've got two new processors, and they're going to counter Intel's Coffee Lake 8 series chips. which are often found in gaming notebooks and mobile workstations. But largely just laptop versions of the. So these new chips are largely just laptop versions of the desktop class 4-core chips AMD already launched this year.
Only 4 cores, though.
Right, but they could. Well, they're designed for lower end systems, consumer lower end grade systems, right? But there is some interesting news about this. Okay, so they could mark an expansion into more notebooks and mobile workstations. So there's a new AMD Ryzen 5 2600 and Ryzen 7 2800H. They're 45 watt processors, 4 cores and 8 threads. But here's where they get interesting. They have Radeon Vega graphics built in. So, and the new chips also support DDR4 RAM up to 3200 megahertz. Okay? And they're both 14 nanometer chips. They can be configured to...
I believe that the RAM bit is probably quite... Like, we all know that with Ryzen, the memory speed actually has a considerable effect on the performance. So it would make sense that they make sure it's going to work with faster.
Yeah. So, like I said, they're 14 nanometer chips, and they can be configured. See, they're giving some configuration options in here. They can be configured to 35 watts of thermal design power or up to 54 watts. And that's going to allow laptop makers to either choose a higher setting for better performance or a lower setting for better thermals and better battery life, but less performance, of course. So... now, it's worth noting that both chips are actually fairly similar, but the Ryzen 7 2800H is going to be a 3.3 gigahertz with a boost of 3.8 gigahertz and integrated 1.3 gigahertz Radeon Vega 11 graphics. I have absolutely no idea what any of that means with the graphic stuff. Zach?
I hate to admit it, I don't know anything about the mobile AMD graphics offerings. In fact, I haven't really been keeping up with mobile graphics at all. For quite some time. I just know that there's a few mobile Vega chips floating around, and everybody knows about the GTX branded chips from NVIDIA that are basically just not even cut down anymore, desktop.
Yep.
That's about all I got, really.
So Ryzen,
I would have to see some bench scores and.
I see. So Ryzen 5 2600H chips are 3.2 gigahertz with a boost of 3.6 and integrated 1.1 gigahertz Radeon Vega 8 graphics. I think that's where these new chips are getting interesting, is the Radeon Vega graphics that are built in. Because there was a lot of...
Oh, we're talking built in. Sorry, I missed that bit. Yeah, that's okay.
But it's built into the chip.
I doubt they're especially strong. They might be more comparable to an APU, which would... I don't know if you've heard that before. It would refer to a CPU with a beefed up onboard graphics. But
I think that's what these are.
It's still far from a dedicated card.
Well, yeah, it's far from a dedicated card, but think about this.
But beefy for integrated.
Yeah, right, exactly. So they're going to be the first 45 watt laptop chips AMD has come out with. Because, see, here's the thing, right? So the chips that I guess they sell now are only 15 watt, because they have a 15 watt lineup. But Intel's 45 watt chips focus on high-end chips and additional cores, while AMD is going for higher clock speeds. So I don't know what you make of that. Of course, we know the laptop market is widely ruled by Intel, but AMD, with this at least, is going after the average consumer. And pricing and availability have not been released yet. I'm sure this is AMD's way of competing with the... well, and here's the other thing. I'm interested to see Intel Coffee Lake H series. Let's see here. Okay. You can probably make better sense of these than I can, so I'm going to send you that. Because I want to see the comparison between these and... Well, let's see here.
I mean, personally, I'd prefer to see
Well,
benchmarks, but
right. So these are going to be all no thank you. We'll do full screen here. So here are the not the benchmarks, the specs for the Intel Coffee Lake lineup here. So the Intel Core i5-8300H processor. Because it looks like, this is interesting. Oh, okay. So there is a Core i7-8850H processor. See, that's the other problem. I don't know where the Ryzen 7 2800H and the Ryzen 5 2600H would rank in comparison with the Intel lineup. You know what I mean? In terms of like what they're comparable to?
yeah, I don't know.
So, I mean, what did we say? 4 cores, 16, or not 4 cores, 16 threads. That'd be interesting. 4 cores, 8 threads, which a couple of these processors are, the 8300H and the 8400H. Both i5 variants are both 4 cores and 8 threads. But the i7-87 or 8750H and the 8850H variants are
I mean,
6
I'm
cores
sure
and
they're
12
just
threads.
reduced power versions of the desktop parts.
Right, yeah, that's pretty much what these are. So, for the mobile platform, of course.
So I'm sure they're quite comparable to the desktop parts, although you just have to factor in the reduced clock speed, which
Right.
is itself a result of the decreased wattage.
So, kind of interesting, though. It's interesting to see that. Well, I mean, so AMD has been trying to, obviously break into more of the prosumer market, high-end, chips and stuff, and now they're kind of focusing more on, it looks like, the consumer grade stuff, which is cool. This should help with, again, better prices probably, and obviously create some competition in the market there, so that's always a good thing. But I mean, not a bad thing. So
Definitely not.
that's why I'm excited to see like Intel's offerings for graphics cards, because then all of a sudden you'll have ATX or not ATX, ATI, you'll have Nvidia, and then you'll have Intel in that mix too.
ATI was bought by AMD many years ago, so...
Why are they? I thought they still branded them as ATI.
What? They don't do that anymore.
Do they not? Okay, so I'm completely off. So
They have not,
Radeon then.
There has not been an ATI branded card for quite some time.
So Radeon then. That old graphics card that we pulled out of like Joe's system. Ooh, by the way, I need to call him later. He's having problems. He's having that fabulous drive not found, hit this key to initialize or whatever prompt box. I think I know what the problem is. I think Dell systems are weird where like you have to like turn off unused SATA ports on the board. Otherwise it'll cause problems. So that's what
I think you talked about that.
Yeah.
Before.
Maybe I did. I don't remember. Anyway, so I have to call him later and help him fix that. But where was I going with this? I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, I was going somewhere with that, and I can't remember where I was going. But real quick here, a couple rapid fire stories. This one's kind of cool. Doesn't affect you or me anymore because I no longer have any papers to write. But this would have been kind of a neat thing to know about if it was around when we had to write papers. So there is a new font. It is called Times Newer Roman. And
I like that name.
right, Times Newer Roman. So it looks a lot like Times New Roman, but each character is subtly altered to be 5 to 10% wider, making your essays look longer without having to actually make them longer.
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
According to New York Times,
Fantastic.
according to Times Newer Roman's website, a 15-page single-space document and 12-point type only requires 5,833 words compared to 6,680 for the standard Times New Roman font. So that's 847 words you don't actually have to write, which is more than twice the length of the post that I'm reading off of. What did you say?
That's amazing.
Right? The problem is you're gonna have to use it on you probably have to submit things in PDFs because it'll keep the font in there, because this is going to be a font that you're going to have to go download. It's not going to be built in. So something like Google Doc or Google Docs isn't going to have it in there, and your professor certainly isn't going to have it on their system. So anyway, but that's kind of a cool thing, I thought. Oh yeah, so we were going to talk about this. So Amazon's Amazon Go stores, so there's like 2 or 3 of them in Seattle. They just actually opened one in Chicago on Monday, which is kind of cool. And they're actually like wanting to do like a major rollout of them, I think, over the next few years, where they want to launch like, I want to say like 30,000 of them, which seems like a really high number, but it is also Amazon. So anyway, but they're like gonna like probably take on like 7-Eleven and like CVS and other things like that. So anyway, so that's kind of a cool thing. And Google Chrome version 69 is out, I guess. So
that's a lot of versions.
The redesign delivers some nifty new features like instant search results, info in the Omni box address bar for weather, sports, and other search card items. Interesting. So, yeah, there you go. They're your rapid fire stories. So there's something called Google Family Link. This is one of those things that I feel like your parents probably would have tried to use if it was around, and you would have figured out a way around it. But basically, like if you have an Android device, you can use it to lock your child's phone at like certain periods. So yeah.
Yeah, the way around it is
root your phone.
It probably has some protections in place to prevent it from being uninstalled, right? But if you just root the phone, you can do pretty much anything you want.
Exactly. So anyway,
I like how always the answer is always just root your phone.
Yeah, root your phone. Or if you have an Apple device, you can jailbreak it, which is totally
that's just another way of saying root your phone.
Right. Well, yeah, which is in Apple's case, and I think more manufacturers are starting to put it in there. But in Apple's case, from the beginning, jailbreaking your phone was never allowed, even though people did it anyways. But yeah, that's Apple for you.
Never allowed. What are they going to do if they find out you're jailbreaking?
Well,
technically, your warranty? Great.
Right. Technically, you're in breach of your agreement to use the device.
I find it completely ridiculous that one should have to agree to anything, pay money to be the owner of something. As the owner of this device, I will do whatever I like.
That concept of I can't repair my own device either.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
It's like,
yep.
I bought this device is mine. I'll do what I like.
Exactly. So, I will say, I am somewhat envious of you. I do miss the ability to just be able to pop the back off of a phone, throw a new battery in there, and call it good. So, anyway. So, all right, we're going to end the show. I got to talk to you about a few things real quick before we leave, or before you leave. But, yeah. Anyway. With that said, I'm going to end this episode of The Ram Show. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. Get subscribed down below if you haven't done that already. Leave comments down below if you've got questions, comments, anything like that. And yeah, we'll see you next week here on The Ram Show. Bye!